The first pro is going to be with the drivetrain. Many people, they talked about it. They argue if it's better than the V8s and everything. This is an amazing engine. It's smooth. It's refined. I love the 10-speed. It shifts really well. It's smooth around town. It's quick to react. And this particular 3.5-liter twin turbo V6, it has that fake engine noise playing inside of the cabin, so it kind of sounds like a V8. In fact, I think they did a great job with the sound. I think the sound engineers, they really did pull off that V8 sound pretty well. It's satisfying to listen to. I personally like it. You can't turn off that sound, the fake engine noise, but I like it. Is this better than the previous generation 5.7? Well, the short answer is yes, but watch my full review to get my detailed thoughts. If you want a proper V8, you have to get the TRD Pro because that has the catback exhaust and that sounds amazing, and obviously there's no competition there. But if you're just going to be comparing this twin turbo V6 to the muffled V8s and the other competitors in the previous generation Tundra, I would actually choose this power plant over those. So that's going to be the first pro. The con though with this whole setup is going to be the lag off the line when you have the traction control turned on. I floored it at a stop sign. The thing would not move for a solid 1 second, maybe a second and a half. It just stood there doing nothing, and then it took off. That threw me off pretty badly. I went back and I did the same start again, except I turned the traction control off and it actually immediately took off then. So that's good, but Toyota really needs to retweak their traction control system. Okay, the other pro is going to be with this interior space. It's laid out beautifully. This is fantastic. Obviously, this is the 1794. I don't particularly recommend this trim or the capstone or any of these higher trim levels. Just get the SR5. But right now, I'm just talking about the overall layout of this. The infotainment is pretty much the best in the truck industry. Actually, it's the best infotainment period out of any car. You're going to be finding this infotainment moving forward in other Lexus products. It's massive, it's quick to respond, easy to use, ergonomic. You still have plenty of physical knobs and switches and buttons. That's not an issue. The gauge cluster looks amazing. The different textures and materials adds to the characteristic. However, one of the cons with this interior is going to be the overall use of plastic in here. Sure, it looks fancy in here, but a lot of this is truly plastic, and this kind of center armrest is kind of flimsy feeling, feels like a toy. Not sure what's up with that, but it's just the truth. This wood trimming also seems kind of plasticky, so I'm not a huge fan of that. So that's going to be one con there. The leather quality is a pro. The seats are fantastic. Another pro right there. Very comfortable doing long trips. The lumbar support is excellent. Fits multiple different body types. The leather on the steering wheel feels fantastic. And again, all of it is easy to use. And another con is going to be with the air suspension in the rear. What we have here is a 1794, $66,000 the way you see it tested here. It has a 6.5-foot bed. It's the crew cab, and it's got air suspension, adaptive variable suspension in the rear. Not a huge fan of it. This thing crashes over sharper bumps, and it's very annoying, and it's very apparent when you sit inside of the vehicle. This has the potential to be a very comfortable truck, but I don't know, Toyota Lexus does not do a great job with air suspension. I kind of said the same thing when I tested out the 2020 Lexus LS 500. Honestly, the ES 300 and the ES 350 rode better than the LS 500, believe it or not, because the air suspension is just way too firm. The front of these Tundras do utilize a traditional spring setup, and it's a double wishbone, but in the rear, we have here the air suspension. Obviously, you don't have to get this air suspension, and I don't recommend it. I recommend getting an SR5 model with the TRD off-road package, 18-inch wheels. That should ride amazing. I haven't tried it personally, but that's also kind of been my experience with the previous generation Tundra as well. The TRD off-road package rides significantly better than the Tundras that don't have the Bilstein suspension. But a pro is going to be with this chassis, okay? This is an all-new platform architecture. This really started out being a platform for the new Land Cruiser and the new Lexus LX 600, but it's a Japanese platform built in collaboration with engineers from America, and this chassis is fantastic. This handles significantly better than the previous generation Tundra. It doesn't flop over or flip over. The occupants, everybody remains neutral sitting inside of this vehicle when you take everyday left-hand, right-hand turns. So that's amazing. Plenty of confidence here. The steering weight is appropriate. It's easy to pilot, and it's got great stability. The steering is direct, and there's not any play with it. So I love driving the Tundra because of its excellent chassis and driving demeanor. Another con with the interior space is going to be, well, the kind of lack of space. I feel like they've really lowered the available space, particularly in the rear. The double cab that I've seen with this Tundra, the new ones, it's pretty abysmal. It's pretty useless. The previous generation Tundra had a massive double cab. It was pretty much almost the size of a crew cab. But this one, you really do have to get the crew cab to get any amount of space. And even then, I feel like the legroom is a little bit less than before. But it's not bad. It's still, the legroom is fine. I can deal with that. But it's the headroom with the pano roof that's going to be annoying for taller passengers. If you're over 6 feet tall, you're going to be brushing your head up against the headlining there with the pano roof. So I would avoid this pano roof for sure. Another pro is going to be with the bed. I love the new bed. It's kind of like that new aluminum reinforced material that they're using back there, similar to the Tacoma. And because of that, you don't have to worry about buying a truck without a bed liner, because this is just coated from the factory. There's no additional option that you have to tick off, and it's durable. Plus, it's easy to access because you can actually put the tailgate down with the press of the key fob, and a little step actually electronically pops out, similar to the electronic side steps that this particular truck has. And you also have a power outlet there as well. And finally, let's talk about the fuel economy. This is actually not really a pro or a con, because this is rated to get 18 in the city and 22 on the highway. Does it do that? Actually, it does when you really baby it, okay? When you drive it like somebody's grandmother, yeah, you can get like 18, 19 mpg in this. But as soon as you touch that throttle pedal, you know, it goes right back down to 14 again. Yeah, this pretty much gets V8 fuel economy still if you drive it a little bit more aggressively like I do. And you kind of want to, because this is a fantastic engine. It's so powerful. It's so quick. You want to experience that engine. So obviously you get on it, but it's a turbo engine. It's not happy about that. The fuel economy really goes down unless you're driving it really softly. The hybrid power plant, that's the other thing. It pretty much gets the exact same fuel economy on paper. I haven't tested it personally, but on paper, that's what it says. The one good thing about the hybrid power plant, the iForce Max, is the fact that you can kind of creep around town, creep around the parking lots, your local neighborhood at slower speeds. You can do that with full EV driving. Reliability is going to be another concern. This is my argument for that. People who buy trucks like this, especially brand new, trucks have fantastic resale value. Pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, doesn't really matter. Trucks have always had great resale. So in literally a year or two, you can just dump this and you'll be okay. You should be okay anyway. Sure, I've heard about people with wastegate / turbo issues, but I've also known people that have bought a brand new Corolla back in like 09 and the transmission blew out on them. So, you know, reliability is like a hit and miss. You know, you roll the dice no matter what car you buy. Fords have their issues, so does Ram, so does Chevy. So no vehicle is perfect. So my recommendation to you, if reliability is a massive problem for you and you really want to keep your trucks or your vehicles for the long term, extend the warranty. Pay $2-3 grand, get like a 10-15 year warranty, whatever, and be done with it. So that's my recommendation to you. And that's my overall pros and cons video. On the end screen here, I'm going to have the full review to the Tundra. So make sure to check that out next.